Welcome back to the show. Our friend, my colleague, fantasy expert Mike Clay is here in yet another attempt to try and make me smarter. So what are we doing today, Mike?
Yeah, we're looking at wide receiver cornerback matchups for the season. We could look at the toughest, but today we're going to look at the easiest.
Now, this is the thing you do. It's a great column you do every week for ESPN Insider, your wide receiver cornerback matchups. You've written one for the season, looking at all the different wide receiver cornerback matchups for the season. Who has the easiest schedules? Tell us about the methodology used to come up with this.
Yeah, and we're looking back at historical trends from coordinators, from players. Do they shatter? Do they not? Are they good? Are they not? And really, we can take that information and figure out who's going to be on who throughout the season, who has the easiest schedules, who has the toughest, and that's what we're doing today.
And I know you look at fantasy points per opportunity, per target. Lots of nerd math goes into this.
Absolutely.
Mike has crunched the numbers, so you don't have to. So let's get to it as we turn to our giant phone. This is like many Schefter phones into one. Number 5.
There you go. That's Doug Baldwin there. He's in the slot. He's inside. He's the number 1 receiver. We're not going to move the needle too much on him. The matchups are about league average for him, but it's on the perimeter. You're looking for some sleepers. How about Paul Richardson? How about Tyler Lockett? They benefit the most.
Seahawks are number 5. And by the way, I also learned what a Seahawk looks like. I never actually had seen one. So already this segment making me smarter. Good for Russell Wilson as well. All right, number 4.
Yeah, I don't know who that guy is, but
that's not a giant. This is the best we could do, guys, for a giant. Like what? Come on.
I'm thinking he might be the guy that fills in for Beckham week 1, right? Because they need somebody if he's not able to play. But the schedule is very nice for him all season. For Brandon Marshall as well, he has the easiest schedule for a number 2 receiver.
Wow.
So really, these guys are going to benefit throughout the season. A lot of great matchups.
Yeah, I've been high on Marshall. I think his ADP is way too low, and you think about the fact you're already going to have coverage on Beckham, and now the coverage that he's going to have number 2 coverage, and it's not nearly as good. It's like worse in the league. Like, yeah, all in on Brandon Marshall this year. All right, who's number 3?
Number 3 on our list is the Arizona Cardinals.
Sure,
and
okay.
Bruce Arians, since he's been in the NFL, is second in 4 wide sets. So he may not like his personnel. He's kind of trashed and thrown his guys under the bus this offseason. But we like him for fantasy purposes because they have a very nice schedule spread across the board. So Larry Fitzgerald, good matchups. Jaron Brown, John Brown, Chad Williams, J.J. Nelson, all these guys will benefit, and they're going to be on the field quite a bit.
Continue to think Carson Palmer way underrated this year. He's only a year removed from a top 5 fantasy finish. And you mentioned, listen, Larry Fitzgerald, always underrated. People are like, he's old. But to your point, they have a nice schedule here. So good to know for all those guys. One of the Browns, either John or Jaron, is going to emerge this year. Hopefully John stays healthy. All right, so if the Cardinals are number 3, who's number 2?
Number 2 is going to be the Atlanta Falcons. Again, the rich get richer. Number 1 in touchdowns last season was this offense. Well, Julio Jones has the second easiest schedule for a number 1 wide receiver this season. Not going to face many tough shadow situations on the year. That's good news for him. But it extends to the other wide receivers as well. Taylor Gabriel, he's kind of a boom-bust sort of producer, but he's going to have a fairly light slate. And then also, the Falcons have a tie for the easiest slot schedule this season. So look out for Mohamed Sanu. He played well last year. Wasn't too fantasy productive, but the schedule should allow that this year.
It's interesting. We had Dan Graziano on the show earlier in the week, and he was telling me he went to the Falcons camp. They're raving about Mo Sanu this year. So an interesting sleeper, especially in deeper leagues. All right, and finally, who's number 1?
Number 1, it's not a bird this time. It's going to be the Panthers. We're going to go with my guy, Kelvin Benjamin. His stock's rising. He has a couple touchdowns here in the preseason. Looks good. He has the easiest schedule for a number 1 receiver as cornerback matchups go this season. So that's great news. But it really extends to all these receivers, the entire offense, great fantasy schedule. The coverages on a week-to-week basis will be terrific. So, again, on the other side, you have Devin Funchess, you have Curtis Samuel, and you have Christian McCaffrey in the slot. Yeah. Those guys are going to have light slates as well. They also have a tie. They're tied with the Falcons for the easiest schedule for slot receivers this year.
So maybe, the fact that Cam Newton isn't going to be running as much this year, maybe that's okay because the passing lanes should be open, should be a better thing.
Mm-hmm. Love
like we couldn't get a Panther that's doing something more than yawning, guys. I don't know. We're gonna work on our GIF research. In the meantime, thanks, Mike. As always, we'll check out the article on ESPN.com.